So this is my learning analysis journal number 5, and specifically it's on my goals for the course. I'm just kind of talking about that experience a little bit. So going into this class, I get really excited about psychology. I get really excited about sort of growth and how the brain handles and processes things. And coming into this course, I was really kind of interested to see really the course would set that up through its framework and kind of the things that we would learn. And really, we ran the gamut of everything that could affect the mind, I think, and the way that it develops, especially in the lens of an educator and as a learner and student. So sort of talking about the experience, I guess, then that I had in this class was just kind of really kind of getting into sort of all of the extraneous factors that there are that work on the brain, and that's anything from race and culture to, learning disabilities to, just even a traditional classroom and what works in that in the best ways, and really getting away from that one size fits all type thing or type model. So then I guess the next part of it is processing it and sort of looking at how I work with special ed students and how I've worked with young students, and I've now worked with older students, and how I work with the more traditional students that are in the classes of the special ed kids that I support. And maybe some of like the biggest things that I've learned is just that you got to take time with all students. It seems like special ed classes sometimes can act as like a guinea pig or like a case study for how to actually apply something you learn in there and work that with, again, traditional students, and looking at different learning strategies and what works for some students, again, isn't always going to work for others. And I look at sort of goals of the teachers that I support and how they're always consistently reworking things and looking at how they're sort of confined and restricted by the curriculum set up by the district that I work in. I specifically, in the 6th hour that I support, Ms. Peck, who is a language arts teacher for freshmen, she has all of these writing tools, as she was a writing center. She was like head of the writing center where kids could go after school to like workshop a paper. And then she moved from that to having her own classroom, and now that she's in the classroom, she can't use these tools and these techniques that she developed and had this system down, and now she's being told she can't use those. And I think about that as, well, how do we adapt what you know into what's applicable into the system that is now? And then how do we take your knowledge and how do we change and fix the system that we had before, or that we have currently, so that it's something that's far more radical, something far more encompassing of what education should be, and not, again, sort of like the standardized testing that we were talking about in class earlier today. Going on to sort of like I guess that's part of what I was talking about was the generalizing section. But I mean, it's hard to talk about all of the things being, what specific things are linked to my experience and what specific things aren't. So much of what I do handles the cognitive range of younger children as I work with special ed students who maybe aren't there who maybe aren't where they're supposed to be socially. I think about how diversity is such a big thing, and accessibility of education to different groups is also super important, and how it also seems to be overlooked at times. And how do you create a culture that's not based on testing, that then doesn't continue to marginalize groups, whether they be students with disabilities or whatever, And then I kind of look at that, then moving into section 4, the practical application section, and that's, we've got all these tools now. It's really time to put them to the test. I really, and I mentioned this too, I really enjoyed creating assignments that I will be able to use down the road. Like, just having been forced to create these assignments and forced to make something that's going to encompass all of these different learning objectives that we had to create was just, it's good experience. It's something that I feel like that's what I benefited from most. Make me do it so then I can actually apply it, because now I have these resources. And it's been incredibly sort of mind-altering to sort of see all of the things that I knew, but then again, all of the things that I missed, or the things that I would have never even thought about. I think about a year and a half ago when I was teaching STEM in elementary Phi Ed, and never having made a lesson plan, and not getting the support that I needed, and not even knowing what questions to ask. And now I can tell you, I can probably find the answer to any questions that I have now, which is awesome. I feel like I can help guide newer teachers if need be. Not a lot, right? Not anything that an experienced teacher would have, but at the same time too, like, I'm going in this with a fresh mind. I'm pretty patient compared to a lot of the other paraprofessionals that I work with, and I think part of that's age. I think part of it too is just my tenure at the school is a year, as opposed to theirs when they've been here for 17 years. So, if there's anything I do differently next time, I think it's just if life gets in the way, and I'm working 2 jobs right now, sometimes a third, depending on what I'm doing for the weekend, and then I've got school full time, and just being more proactive with my time, I found that I needed to do that as I got later into the semester, and could have easily gotten ahead of my work early in the semester, and I think that's maybe something that I can hopefully teach my kids. It's maybe not. I've been trying 30 years not to procrastinate, and here I am. But I'm finding that that's really, having the planned lessons makes things go so much simpler and so much easier and so much more smoothly, and it also benefits the kids then too, because they see a teacher who is modeling professionalism, ready to go, showing them what it's like. When you're ready to go and you have things expected, you can have more fun with it because you're not flying off the seat of your pants. You're not worried about if some sort of technology is or is not working, and you've got ways around it, and double planning and knowing your kids comes from that too, and all of that. So, yeah, I feel like I learned a lot, a lot more than I did in my other class, and there was feedback and continual growth, and there was always, I could see myself growing as a student and as an educator, and I am thankful for that.